Hi guys, today I'm going to show you one of my classes that I did a few months ago. It was really fun and I really enjoyed it. In this class, I'm not using the same standards as you would use if you're teaching English as a foreign language, but I wanted you to see how using standards and a lesson plan, how these go hand in hand in helping you to make a lesson or make a class that is engaging, student-centered, and then gets your point across. You have to be flexible. So I think in this class, I also had to readjust some of my ideas. But overall, I can definitely say with confidence that my students did have a good class. And so let's take a look at it. I'll be stopping every so often to kind of explain some things. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, are you ready? Weather time. So in this part, at the beginning of my lessons, in order to give students more responsibilities for their learning and for our classroom, I decided rather than me doing the attendance, me going over the weather, or me doing different tasks, why don't I get the students to do it in? So every class, one person is assigned one task. So we have somebody who does the weather, somebody who controls the computer, somebody who does show and tell. So that's what you're going to see in a minute. And all of these routines or all of these parts and sections that I'm doing, they are to address a specific need for my classroom. So a lot of my students struggled with ordinal numbers, and so we do the weather so that they are familiar with ordinal numbers, familiar with how to explain how the weather is on that particular day. And in here, I'm working with a mixture of like 3rd and 4th graders because this is an after school class. So it's mixed ages, mixed levels, which can be really, really difficult, by the way. Also, show and tell is when students bring in an item. Most times they forget and then they choose something really lame like my pen. But sometimes, every now and then, you get somebody that brings in something really nice. For example, a giant pencil. I love having these because it always makes everyone really excited. But you can bring in something like this, show it to the class, say 2 sentences about what it is, and that's it. But there, students are practicing how to present, and they're also practicing how to speak about something spontaneously. So let's take a look at how the opening routine will turn out. Today is 26. Today is 12. Today is October. 야, 오늘 찬송 있어. 맞아. 뭐라고? 찬송 쳤다고? 아, 이거 찬송한다. 왜? 300원. 300원이라고? Okay. Do you have your show and tell? Yes. Are you okay? Girl. Put it inside. So in this lesson, my student was in charge of everything. So we have a rota. It's on the board at the back. And so he was in charge of mostly everything in that class, doing the weather, doing the computer, and also doing show and tell. So something really nice that happened is that the students started to ask each other questions. So at the beginning, the student would do their show and tell and then sit down. But I realized they started to ask questions, which I didn't tell them to do that at all. It was just naturally they started to ask questions. And so because of that, I started to also reward the students who ask questions. Down, down, down. And we use Class Dojo to give rewards, take attendance as well. Help us. Good. All right, spelling time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put your dice in your bag. Because everybody wants it so much. Oh, yeah. Everybody wants your dice so much. Okay, everybody, today, let's make a bigger circle. Let's make a bigger circle. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. All right. Bigger circle. All right, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 4. So as you can see, my students are very talkative, even though there's just a few of them. We're not that many, but they are talkative. If I was doing this with a big class, obviously I wouldn't have them sitting down in a circle unless you had mats or designated places to avoid fighting and chaos. But if you train your students well enough, you can do anything in the classroom. So it's down to you. But here, one student is in charge of picking out the words and reading them out. And what's really good, actually, let me go back. Let me pause it and go back a little bit. What's interesting here is, and this is what I discovered once I gave more opportunities for students to actually lead different parts of the class, is that they are familiar with my accent and my way of pronouncing things, and also textbooks as well as American pronunciation. But when they say the words to each other, they don't always understand because of how the words can be pronounced. So it's really good to give your students opportunities to actually say the words out loud, for them to hear each other saying the words out loud. So doing something like this is really beneficial. So let's go back and hear the student and what he said. Number 3. So after they've taught the lesson, they need to check that they've spelt it correctly and then self-correct. Or sometimes we do peer correcting, where they pass it to the next person who corrects their work. So this is a type of formative assessment that I do. It helps me to know what words the students are familiar with, what spelling problems they have. From here, I can also see who is actually progressing. So by doing this kind of daily spelling at the beginning of the class as part of our routine, I noticed that once I saw the problems that the students were having, especially a lot of them have issues with vowels, and I think it's just because not being able to hear them clearly and distinguish them. For example, a and e, like bed and bad. those little differences can be a bit difficult. But once I noticed where they were struggling with, we looked at it, we tried to give some hints and some help, and it actually improved their spelling score, and it also improved students' confidence as well. So here I am giving points. So now I take back control, giving points, and then we start talking about a new topic. To learn some new words. So number one, today we're going to learn new words. New words. You already spelled. We're going to learn words like bed and a fan and a desk. Where can you find this in your house? A bed, a pillow, a desk, my room. So we're going to learn about my room. My room. So first, I have this paper. Everybody's going to get one. And you need a pencil. Please get a pencil. So since this was the first session actually in this unit for learning about the names of things in a room, and in particular it's in your bedroom, I wanted to know what words the students were familiar with and what words I would need to focus on. So I used a KLW chart to be able to do that. So it was really simple activity. I put down all of the words that students should know from the unit, which I took from the textbook. And then I just had them tell me what they knew. Actually, I can show you let me just pause it for a minute. If I go to Canva, I should be able to pick out what the chart, so you can see what I'm talking about. I've just made a KLW chart in Canva. If you type in KLW chart, it's going to pop up in Canva. But this is what we were working with. So students have these words, and then they need to tell me what they know, what they don't know, and what they have in their bedrooms. And those three things I wanted to know is, of these words, how many of them do they know? And I had some people who knew practically all of the words. I had some people who didn't know a lot of the words, and they were a little bit shyer. So I just said, look, if you don't know, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. We're going to go over it. And then I wanted to know how well they could describe their rooms so that I know what sentences that they also know. So this would give me, again, it's a formative assessment, will give me a lot of information on what the students know, what they don't know. And then I can focus on what they really need to know and what is the most important part. If they know all of the words, I don't need to waste time doing in-depth teaching. Maybe I could focus more on pronunciation, because as you can see, they don't always understand each other's pronunciation. So maybe that will be our focus. Again, if they know all of the words, we can go on to talking about how do you pronounce this word. So it really helps to pinpoint where students are struggling mostly, and then what you can do to help them. All right, let's go back to our video and continue on. Wait, let's check together. So, number one, everybody, look at these words. If you know closet, I know, then you write. Closet, I don't know, then I don't know. Okay, so look at these words. I know, yes. And then I don't know what? Yeah, if all, you know all, and you write it here. And then, no. As you can see, although students talk to me in Korean, and I can mostly understand what the students tell me, I always reply in English. And I think you should do that too. Whether you are Korean or not Korean, whether you can understand the students' native language, I think try as much to speak to them in English as possible. Get them used to it. I know it's a little bit difficult. If they know you know how to speak, they might be like, come on teacher, you can just explain that in our language, right? But I think it's a good way and a good idea to be able to continuously speak to your students in English, forcing them. Again, they will pick up a lot of things from you. You are input and you are a huge resource for your students. So try to speak as much English as you can, simple English as you can to your students.
Okay, what do you know? Okay, we need to do it. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to complete.
Again, for time management, I always use a timer because it helps me to stay on board. And then I also check on students one-on-one, making sure that they understand, making sure they feel okay. So in this case, that's what I was doing with that particular student. I was just checking on her to make sure that she understood. Because it's sometimes in the classroom where there's loads of people who can do everything, and then you're the one that can't, you can feel a bit embarrassed.
Oh, did I make this? But some people don't know. Some people don't know.
아니 진짜 바닥이 없을 리가 없잖아.
She made a good point, but floor was a part of the textbook. So it's a word that I had to check that everybody knows. But I know if you don't have a floor, do you technically have a room? So she made a really, really good point. So as you can see, I've had to adjust the time because, you know, students needed more time. So things don't always go perfectly. When we're teaching, doing presentations, it does usually go perfectly because everybody's trying to be kind, everybody's trying to be nice. But in real life, you have to be flexible and you might not get to do everything you've planned. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't plan.
Then let me see. Did you finish your homework already? Not yet. You okay? Relax then. Take a little break.
So I was really proud of Tu because we'd been talking about stress in the previous unit, and since then he has started to voice his opinions a lot more. And in this case, he finished early because he's one of my higher levels, but he wanted to just rest a little bit. And I was so happy that he told me, I just want to relax for 1 minute. I just want to relax. I thought that was really good.
Please write your name. Write your name and today's date. What's today's date? And your name. Today is what is it in English? 20. Good. October 26th. So write your name and today's date.
쌤이 뭐지? 6.
26. Good.
26. 오픈은 안 돼? 오케이.
The boys were playing with this magical dice thing, and I don't mind fidgeting, but at this point it's starting to make noise.
Please, but please make quietly. Let's not make any noise.
Teacher, I have so many bedrooms.
Oh, really?
Bedroom 2.
Oh, yeah, 2 beds and 2 lamps. My mistake. Who needs more time?
Okay, make sure that you proofread your work because I had incorrectly written 2 words twice.
You finished? Then 40 seconds for everybody else.
투님이랑 시간이 없어. 아니야, 내 얘기한 것 같아. 나도 고양이가 막.
Please put it up there. Wait a minute. Yeah, you can make a poster in a minute. We're going to play a game first and then we're going to play a poster.
진짜 저 엄마 게임 안 하셨어요?
Okay, you
So again, here I had to readjust my class. So I had planned a game again to start introducing the words to the students, but they wanted to get on with their summative assessment, which was making a poster about the previous unit. We had to kind of extend the time because they needed more time. So I was really happy that the students, you know, were eager to continue working on their posters and were eager to just focus on that. But I was also glad that already I was able to receive the necessary information for the new unit that they were going to be doing. So I'm able to get in information and then we're able to continue working on different things.
Today, not tomorrow, but today. Yes. I have, yeah. Oh, you have free pens? Oh, free pen. Good. That's good. Yeah, free pen. This is perfect. Yeah. I want 2 facts, 2 pens.
So this is why I love songs. It just makes them happy. This is how you can play a song in the background. They're already singing it. So if I decide to teach this song, they'll pick it up so quickly because they're so familiar, because I play it as a background music in my lessons. And so for the rest of the class, all I'm doing is just checking that they're doing their work. Each student was tasked with writing 2 facts about sports and hobbies, and then 2 benefits of doing sports and hobbies as well. They were tasked also to make their work really bright and colourful. I don't know if I did it in this lesson or in the previous lesson. I also gave them a paper rubric that made sure they checked or they had everything I had asked for. And I think that's what I'm doing. We're checking his rubric to make sure whether he's done the work or not. And I used an emoji rubric. Let me see if I can find it. So here's what the rubric looks like. It's an emoji rubric, so really easy to understand. Not in this video, but in a previous video, I went through it. We kind of went over it, how to complete it, how to fill it in. So here, I said who will use this poster, and a 4 is absolutely, and then 1 is like, no, I didn't. I said what this poster is for. Absolutely, no, I didn't. I said why I made this poster. I said when and where you can do this sport and hobby. So all the things that I expect them to have, I've put it in, and I've put it in a way that it's easier to understand. For lower level learners, I also translate the sentences or give more explanations. And then here, this is a little exit ticket that I wanted them to do either, I can't remember, maybe not, I don't know if it's in this lesson or in another section, but it's just to tell me how they felt about the lesson, because I want to know, do they like what I'm teaching? Do they like this kind of lesson? And a lot of people did they loved making posters. I need help with, and again, I asked them, do you need help with spelling, writing sentences, finding pictures, finding ideas? Again, I want to know where they're struggling, right? The best thing I did today was, again, they tell me, we didn't get to do the game, but we did definitely do the spelling, we did writing, and then some people were like, I didn't do it. I didn't enjoy anything. Again, it just gives me, I'm constantly getting information from my students. This is helpful for me, but this is really helpful for my students, because when they fill this out and then we check it together, I do one-on-one sessions with them, I get to see who is telling me the truth, how they really think about themselves. So you had some students that would give themselves a 4 for everything, but then when we actually look at the work, they're like, okay, I see what you mean, I didn't do as good. And then you have some other students who are doing really well, but they, they're really humble, and they're like, no, not even really humble, but maybe they just usually put themselves down about English, and they'll score a lot lower. And that's your opportunity to kind of lift them up and say, no, you did it. I saw it over here. I saw it over there. So this is a really good tool of giving your students good, helpful feedback. They know what they're doing, and they know why they're doing it. They know if they're doing well and how it's shown in the work. So definitely use this kind of rubric. And it's not different to what I use to grade them as well. I use the same thing I give to them to check, to self-evaluate. I also use that to evaluate them. So we're working with the same information, and then the feedback makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. This is my first time to kind of review my own lesson. I usually do that with other people's lessons, but hopefully it's helpful.
Yeah.
So as you can see, he's filled out his rubric. And then he's trying to get a prize from my prize box. So here, for this task, if students finish their posters, they get 5 points for completing their posters, just for the completion. But later they can get additional point for quality.
All right, please put your posters here. Finish time, actually.
So I just realized that we were completely out of time, and so I had to rush and get everybody out, because the next teacher, she doesn't play. She likes them in on time, and if they're late, she will definitely complain. So I had to hurry up. So that's a little bit of the real class. Now, this is very different to the environment that you will be doing, and also to the task that you've been assigned. You've been assigned to teach a song lesson, and you have about 15 minutes. You can see what I more or less did in 20 minutes. I think I cut some of the parts out, but more or less in 20 minutes. There's a lot that can be done. Number one, I focus on a student-centered environment, and I am a facilitator. I don't necessarily explain everything to them. I just set up, give them instructions, set up the condition, and then help and support them. In other lessons, it looks a lot different. Actually, for most of my lessons, I didn't do that much explanation, but I chose tasks and activities that get my students to discover the information and to discover the thing. So I think that's the way to go. Use your students as partners in learning. If you can, if the students can do it, let them do it, right? Let them do it. I know it's not always possible, but if you see that, oh, actually, the students can do it by themselves. I don't need to do this. They can do it. Give it to your students. They would love it. Now, you don't give it to them straight away. You model it a little bit. For me, in my personal case, once I've modeled it 2-3 times, they're ready to pick it up. For example, the routine, I modeled that a few times, then they were ready. With like very young kids, 1 month, older kids 2-3 times, boom, they want to do it themselves. They're even eager. They're like, can I do it? Can I have like a mouse? Can I touch the mouse? Can I be the one touching the mouse? Or can I be the one with the pointer? Or can I use the giant pencil to, do some practice writing? They really want to be a part of it. So focus on that. And you don't have to do a whole lesson on explanation. Now, teaching songs is a little bit different. You do need to kind of go through. But as you can see, if you play it many times, they'll start singing it. They'll know it. They'll pick it up. It will make your job so much easier. So happy teaching, happy learning. I hope you have a really fun time with teaching your songs. And thank you so much for following this class. Goodbye.